Welcome to Even Tacos Fall Apart, a podcast where we talk openly and honestly with the goal of normalizing mental health conversations. I'm MommaFoxFire, and today we're getting into personal growth and soul-driven decisions with empowerment coach Nina Bevar. Before we jump into that conversation, I want to spend a few minutes on this topic because I think a lot of us are walking around feeling a little stuck. We're doing the things we're supposed to do. We're showing up to work, paying the bills, taking care of our people. But somewhere underneath all that, there's this nagging feeling that we're living someone else's version of our life. Personal growth gets talked about a lot these days. You see it, of course, all over social media. There are self-help books. There's motivational quote posts that your aunt shares on Facebook. But the reality of actually growing as a person is messy and uncomfortable and sometimes really damn scary. Growth means looking at the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. It means admitting that some of the beliefs you've held onto for years are actually holding you back, and facing the fact that you might need to make some changes you've been putting off. And then soul-driven decisions sounds like a spiritual or woo-woo topic until you really think about it and realize it means listening to the part of you that wants something different than what everyone expects. Your soul doesn't care about your 5-year plan, or what your family thinks you should do, or whether your decision makes sense on paper. Your soul just knows what feels right in your body, in your gut, in that quiet place you rarely have time to listen to anymore. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I'm in one of those stuck places myself. I know where I want to be, but I can't get there yet because of custody agreements and timing and all these practical realities that don't care about what my soul wants. So I get it, I really do, the frustration of knowing what you need, but feeling trapped by circumstances. But, and that is a big but, being stuck doesn't mean being powerless. You can start moving toward what you want even when you can't have it yet. You can take small steps. You can do research. You can save money. You can have conversations. You can start telling people out loud what you're working toward so your brain knows you're serious about this. Personal growth doesn't always look like these big dramatic transformations. Sometimes it looks like finally setting a boundary with a relative. Sometimes it looks like admitting you need therapy. Or maybe sometimes like taking a damn nap because you're exhausted and your body's been trying to tell you that for months. Soul-driven decisions don't always mean quitting your job and moving to Bali. Sometimes it means staying at the job you hate for one more year so you can save enough money to make your move. Sometimes it means choosing the life that feels right to you even when other people don't get it. Sometimes it means disappointing people who expect you to stay small and comfortable for them. The hard part is that nobody else can tell you what your soul wants. Your friends can't do it, your therapist can't do it, some life coach on Instagram definitely can't do it. You have to get quiet enough to hear yourself. You have to pay attention to what makes you feel alive and what makes you feel like you're slowly dying inside. You have to stop numbing out with distractions and actually feel your feelings long enough to know what they're trying to tell you. And I know that sounds exhausting. It is exhausting. Growth and change are exhausting. Listening to your soul when it's asking you to do hard things is exhausting. But you know what else is exhausting? Living a life that doesn't fit you. Pretending you're fine when you're not. Ignoring that voice inside you that keeps saying there has to be more than this. So all of that is why I sat down with Nina, who actually did the thing a lot of us dream about. She left her home country at 34 and moved to New York City by herself. Then she moved to Hawaii. She's built a whole practice around helping women make these kinds of transitions and reconnect with who they really are underneath all the expectations and fears and limiting beliefs. Nina gets real about the challenges, the privilege involved, the practical realities of making big changes when you have responsibilities. She talks about fear and limiting beliefs and that toxic inner voice that tells us when we're not good enough. She shares how she helps her clients figure out which beliefs are actually theirs and which ones they inherited from other people. This conversation goes to some really vulnerable places. We talk about depression and feeling stuck, and that moment when you realize you have to do something different or you're going to lose yourself completely. We also talk about the small stuff, the daily practices that keep you connected to yourself when life gets overwhelming. So settle in, get comfortable, grab a notebook if you're the type who likes to jot things down, because this is a good one. Here is my conversation with Nina. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to another Mental Health Monday here on Even Tacos Fall Apart. I am MommaFoxFire. I am joined by Nina Bevar, and we are here today to just talk about mental health and specifically about personal growth and soul-driven decisions. And to that end, I am opening up a question queue. If you have any questions for us while we are here today, feel free to pop that question into the chat and we'll make sure to get to it. Hey, 488, how are you today? Welcome. And we are going to kind of jump in, but at the same time, I always want to make sure that we are sharing ways to connect and everything. So if you would like to connect with Nina, I'm going to post some links into the chat. Whether you are here on YouTube or here on Twitch today, you should be able to click through and find the way to connect in there. And let me tell you guys a little bit about Nina. Nina is an empowerment and confidence coach who helps women navigate the big life transitions and reconnect with who they really are. Through her practice, the Awareness Effect Coaching, Nina encourages her clients to face fears, heal old wounds, and let go of beliefs that no longer serve them. Originally from Switzerland with French and Italian roots, her own journey of transformation started when she left behind the expected path and moved to New York City, and then eventually to Hawaii, which is why it looks like daylight right now. Nina now leads women's circles and live empowerment sessions, and she believes that growth doesn't have to mean becoming someone new, but more of a focus on uncovering the person you've always been under the layers of fear and expectation. And that is what we are going to talk about tonight. Again, it's that personal growth and soul-driven decisions. Nina, thank you so much for being here, for agreeing to join us today, and just for being you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here with all of you guys. Yeah, it's a first for me being alive in that way. So very excited.
Well, I'm honored to be here with you for the first time on here. It's one of those things that it's not for everybody, and it there is a lot that goes into it whenever you're doing these. So don't be scared. We got you. It's all good. So just to kind of get us warmed up here, can you share what led you to becoming an empowerment and confidence coach?
Why I choose that specifically, I think, is seeing myself dealing with not feeling very confident and the self talk in my mind, and always telling me maybe you should do something different or maybe it's gonna fail, all those fixed scenarios that we're very good at. Um, and seeing afterward, being in New York and also hearing my friends were like, I wish I had the courage to do that. I wish I was more confident. All the feedback that I got, it's what made me choose that. I think it's if we were feeling more confident on who we are and more empowered, and because we have everything within us, we could be wherever we want to be. So that's why exactly I choose empowerment and confidence.
Yeah. So when did you start doing this empowerment and confidence coaching?
I started when I started to do my training. I went to the J Shetty certification school in March 2024, where we had models, and pretty fast they were pushing us to start coaching.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I started coaching, and through practicing and feedback that I got, it's how also I got confirmation that is what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
They tell us that you can start one way and then one day change.
Yeah.
It's not it's what I like. Your journey through coaching can evolve, and you can start as empowerment and maybe shift to mindset or purpose. I like that. I like that evolution that is not you're not stuck in one thing forever.
Yeah, and you can kind of make it what works best for you and the way that you work as well. That's really neat. What do you
Yeah.
love about it and what do you hate about it?
I think I will start with the hate, but hate is a pretty hard
Strong
word.
word. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges maybe?
I think it's the one that made me doubt if I really want to be a coach is the part of marketing and
Uh,
selling yourself and finding clients that we I think in our world we require two people to know to do everything
mhm.
unless you have a lot of money and you can hire people to do everything. And that was like really the point where I was like, I want to be a coach. I know I will be good, but that part, I don't know. And it's really like stopped me for a little while. So that will be like the negative part. And the positive is seeing people growing, people trusting me, they become my friend, seeing them really glowing and feeling empowered, embracing really who they are. It's a gift. If I could do it for free, I will do it for free. It's really it's healing also me. Like it's not like we are the same level with coaching. So they are helping me too in a way, in an indirectly way, because what they're sharing it echo also like on me,
Mhm.
um, because I'm mirroring them, but they're also mirroring me in a way, even though I'm making sure I'm not putting myself in because it's about my client
Yeah.
first. But like I think doing good, it's always gonna nurturing you back.
Yeah. I understand. We were actually just before this, we were talking about the social media and the challenge of trying to keep up with social media. And it really is such a challenging thing to try to do because it seems like every month, every week, there's a new platform that pops up that everyone's like, oh, are you on this yet? Oh, are you on that yet? And it's like, okay, unless you can just bulk schedule everything and then there's no engagement on your social, so then it becomes like, all right, so you schedule a bunch of posts and now you got to go and it's half a full-time job just to go and engage with everyone on all these platforms. So the marketing part, was that a surprise to you? Did you know that going in, or was it something that was news to you whenever you started having to do it?
We got a class. So when we got certified, we have a month only about business. So we learn the basics, but still was very overwhelming
Yeah.
because it's a different language. So already you learn a language of coaching and then you learn the language of marketing and finding passion through it. It's difficult. I wasn't surprised. I appreciate that I got that. It helped me to understand few things. But then I also went on my own way and look at every class that I could took and listen people talking about, for example, just business or marketing without social media. I was very
Hmm.
interested about what this approach. So I tried to like gain from different perspective and see what will work for me and things that I was saying, no, I will not be on LinkedIn because I hate it. It end up it's my main social media and I spent all my time on it.
Yep, yep. I mean, LinkedIn, I feel like of the social media sites, and I am loath to say this because I was also like I don't really like LinkedIn. Now, having been on so many social media sites that kind of turn into cesspools, LinkedIn is actually pretty nice because it's not, at least the LinkedIn that I get to see is not like all this crazy stuff that goes on a lot of other social media platforms. So I appreciate LinkedIn now more than I used to, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's perspective and then realizing that then, right, it's too linked and it's about community and networking and it doesn't have to be always around money or exchange.
Yeah.
And I really create like really great friendship on it there, and then people are really looking out for me and I looking out for them, and we never met. Sometimes we do coffee call and there is like these things that I didn't find on Instagram. I feel there is a boundary on Instagram. People don't really want to go further. It's very like job where it's I met people from Instagram, but still I felt like even people from here in Hawaii was hard to connect. Like they don't really want to. meet me. Whereas I found like LinkedIn was way much easier because we found the same challenge of we all trying
Mm.
something new. And so we grow together and we see each other growing. And that's amazing. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. What is your favorite poem? This is an audience question. Bite Mark would like to know, what is your favorite poem?
Okay. So I have to be honest, I'm not very into poem. I don't know if it's like my soul is feeling some resistance about it. I'm more like into quotes. Yeah, I don't know if it's because I study poems when I was in high school and we were like into Baudelaire, like all those classic one, and
Mhm.
you had to count everything, and it just remove all the magic of poems,
Mhm.
and so it create that feeling about it. And I knew this question will come, and I was like, let me go back to it and look at it, and I was like, no, my soul is just don't want to let
It's not there
itself
for you.
feel it. But I do like a lot Maya Angelou.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she have amazing quotes. I'm very into quote. I think because I'm more logical, I feel like it's easier for me to feel than in a poem, I think. I don't know, but I don't want to say never. Who knows? I want to be
Yeah.
open.
Yeah. I mean, Maya Angelou's got some great, I mean, not only her speaking engagements are just really something to inspire you, but also she has written some great poetry as well. And then,
Yeah.
songs are poems too. So if there's ever something that you're like, oh, I love the way this song flows, that's a little bit of poetry for you. So,
True, I like hip hop. I grew up listening 90s hip hop. So even
yeah.
though that age I didn't understood anything I was listening.
None of us did. None of
Even
us did.
later,
I put
like,
on some
oh, okay.
I put on some songs from my childhood now, and my kids are like, "Mom!" And I'm going, "What? Oh, I never actually listened to the lyrics." Did you have, like, a favorite 90s hip hop song?
I will say one that is French, MC Solar. He also play with Missy Elliott's and Wu-Tang Clan, I believe. So he had in the 90s a career also a little bit international, and he's really, really good. He's doing poem. Like his writing, especially in the 90s, was really amazing. So I will say he's a poet. And so it's MC, like the MC, and is
Mhm.
Solar with two A, and is a really great artist. Or yeah.
Salaar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
MCSOLAAR.
SOL. Okay, got it. Alright, I'm gonna look that one up.
It's really poetry because it's all about rhymes, and it's always talking about society and
Mhm.
love, and it was pretty great.
Yeah, a lot of hip hop really kinda goes to some deeper things than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Do you have a true crime story that fascinates you?
So I really love true crime stories. I'm really into podcasts or like documentary. I wonder why, but right now the one that I will say fascinated me the most is the Long Island serial killer, especially because I lived in New York, and some of those crime were like when I was traveling there, and it feels so real even when you like look at the map and where they found the body, and you're like, oh, I was there. And yeah, I'm really fascinated about his story and his family and how he through all these years. um yeah, it's scary but also fascinating.
Yeah.
I really like the psychology. I really like I even listen about cults. I listen about so many different things because I think it's so interesting on about yeah, the mind, and um how like human beings function, even like people who get into cult, or like this the sex cult in New York. That
Mhm.
story is insane. And I think it also helped to then maybe recognize some behavior in others.
Yes, yes, for sure. Yeah, there's lots of really good documentaries. My oldest and I really like true crime and documentaries and everything. We just watched the one, Unknown Number, with the mother who was, like, sending her daughter these oh my gosh, it's
Oh my god,
wild.
this story is so sad.
It's wild, and just, like, you get to
Never
the end.
imagined.
No, you get to the end, so I didn't know. My 18-year-old had already watched the whole thing, and he already knew, and he would be like, "Mom, who do you think it is? Mom, who do you think it is?" And I'm like, "Well, it can't be any of these people because 'cause they're on camera talking to the." And then it wound up and I'm just, like, mind blown that she would agree to come on there and talk like she didn't have a clue what was going on. Like, how is your brain firing that you think that this is okay? It's it's really.
How she talk about it. How she talk
Yes.
about it, when we discovered her and how she
Mhm.
defend herself. It's still like after all these years, it feel like she's still not really in the reality of it
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
not
very
really like
much.
and the daughter too. The daughter
No,
was like
that poor
wanna be
girl.
connected with her
I
and
know. I know,
I
and
don't know what's best. You know the best, but I'm like, wow.
yeah, and my 18-year-old was like, "Mom, if you ever do that to me, I'm never speaking to you again." I was like, "Good, you shouldn't." You shouldn't, even if it's a parent, you shouldn't, but, everybody handles trauma differently, and everybody handles personal relationships different, especially parental relationships, like, those can be really fraught on the best of days. And then you throw in something really weird going on, and it's like, you don't know how you're going to react to a situation until you're in it. So, but yeah, true crime is one of those things. I was just talking yesterday. One of my best friends had a baby shower, and I was just talking to her sister about true crime and podcasts and everything. And she was going through her long list of true crime podcasts and stuff. And I'm just like, I haven't even heard of most of those, but awesome. Send them to me.
I will send you an email with some of the podcasts that I really like
Oh,
that are
please do.
I'm not really creepy, but I'm like, "Yeah, I'm listening to that."
Yes, yep. My top 2 are Last Podcast from the Left and My Favorite Murder. Like, those are because My Favorite Murder, you get a different one every week, which is great. And it's just like these little I can listen to it while I'm cooking dinner or, while I'm doing something else and just get my little hit of it and then move on with my day, which is fun for me. For me, not everyone likes true crime, but I definitely do. Now, you made a huge leap at 34, leaving Switzerland to start over in the US. You moved to New York, now you're in Hawaii. What gave you the courage to take that step and how did that moving away from your home country, how did that shape your perspective on personal growth?
It took me a while. I have to be honest. I discovered New York City when I was 17. So that was the dream. My dream was moving to New York City.
Mhm.
And yeah, from 17 to 34, I was going there every year, sometimes twice a year. Like I needed my New York. I need my
Mhm.
shot of because I really felt at home and I felt I could be myself there. But I I think I was giving a lot of excuse or I was scared. It's such a different culture and I knew that it will be very hard. I was like, like giving excuse of if I go there, I will have to do this and that, or I will have to live with roommates when I was living on my own for a while. All the little things that I think we all do, we get comfortable in our life and it's hard to hard it's because like it's depend of your mindset, right? But to really think maybe I need to step out of my comfort zone because it's worth it. And I think is what made me shift. I was very depressed. Was, I had lost my job. I couldn't find any other job for 2 years. I went to a wedding in Mallorca and even just that, because I was so in my bubble and depressed at home, and I was not wanting to interact with anyone. But at some point, I was like, it's time. It's time to push yourself and meet new people. So I went to that wedding. They were all living in New York from everywhere in the world. And the photographer, who's a really good friend now, said, why are you staying in Geneva if you hate it? And that time really is the haha moment. I heard it.
Mhm.
Obviously, I knew it, but that time it was like, yeah, I have nothing to lose right now. why not? And I think it's where change comes is when your situation is worse than your dream or worse that where you want to go.
Mm.
And you're like, okay, I think it's worth to like be challenged and have to do things that I don't want to do. I'm 34, like this stereotypes of like, I'm 34, I should not be doing this anymore. Of like going to school again and learn English and going living with roommates
Mhm.
where I was living on my own and my cats. Little things like this that I feel people get stuck because they don't want to push that and see what will come if they do that. The second part of your question, remind me.
Just how did moving away really shift your perspective on your own personal growth?
I feel I grow more in 7 years than in 34 years. The culture difference, New York specifically, being surrounded with people from everywhere in the world, all
Mhm.
those languages, and ELM during the pandemic. I learned a lot about my privilege
Mm.
as a white Swiss lady. And then I got challenged. The pandemic was horrible. I could not work legally. Um, there were so many things that were so hard, but at the same time, it was still worth it to go through those challenges because moving to that place, to New York City, made me realize that I found myself, I could be myself, and that was worth anything, even all the challenge, even the day where we're listening Cuomo saying, "Oh, tomorrow is gonna be closed again," or "Let's see in 1 week," and you had to leave one day at a time, and um, you don't really know how you're
Yeah.
gonna pay your rent. But at the end of the day, I always realized that things were get okay. I had people helping me. I really found that everything will be fine, even if it's challenging. You will figure it out. You will
Mhm.
figure it out. And I think through like all that journey from Geneva to New York and now here, I think even sometimes I get frustrated and I would like things go faster or on a different way. I remind myself that that's the gold because it's where I'm gonna learn something and
Mhm.
and is where I'm gonna grow, right? So yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah. Now what took so you've got this love of New York and now you're down in, Hawaii. What took you from New York to Hawaii?
So in 2023, when the pandemic got a little calmer, I decided to take a month to Hawaii. I always wanted to go, and I felt like I was done with New York.
Mm.
Like, I need to go to a place that is more calm.
Yeah.
I was like, I know I did it. I made my dream come true. I've been there for like 4 years. I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to for the next adventure. And I went to Hawaii just because I was thinking to leave the US and
Mhm.
I always wanted to go. So I took a month off to be with myself, rest, take care of my little soul. And very fast I realized that I heard myself like, "You're ready to leave." And at the same time, I met my husband. So love bring me to Hawaii. When I was ready and really processing the fact that I was done with the United States, then I fell in love with a guy I met on Instagram that I was looking for to rent a bike. And that's how I'm now here. The
Yeah.
reason why I'm in Hawaii. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, if you wanted to move somewhere else, is he the type who would be like, "Let's pick up and move somewhere else for a new adventure?" Are his roots just really in Hawaii? Is he really, local there?
Is half from Portland and
Okay.
half Hawaiian. I think it will be down to go somewhere else. He have less experience from the outside of the United States,
Mhm.
and I'm really the one who's like, let's go outside. You're gonna see how like so many different places are so
Yeah.
interesting and all the people you can meet and It's good, especially now with everything that's going on. I think it's good to take a break and like, yeah, I feel when we are in an overwhelming place, it's good to also take a break if you can. I know it's not that easy, and you need to have money, but I think it's an important thing. Take a break in every type of form.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it no matter what your stance is on anything, like, no one can deny that it's overwhelming right now to be in the US and to just see and hear and know everything that's going on. It is absolutely overwhelming, most definitely. We've talked a couple of times here, we've just kind of dropped that soul piece and that healing piece and that growth piece in, but what does being soul driven, what does that mean to you? And how can someone recognize when they're making a soul driven decision?
The first thing that comes to my mind is my head is not involved. I'm not thinking. So when I'm thinking about a next project, a next adventure, a decision, something I want to try, I can feel physically in my heart, in my body, that it's something that I want, even if it's scary. Because scary isn't, I don't think it's negative. I think I saw that quote that say, if you feel scared and excited at the same time, it means you should do it. Um, that is one thing. And then of course, then it's the brain comes and is like, but like I was saying, I really believe that it's first not really linked to materialistic world when it's driven by your soul. It's not like I want to have a new car. I think it's deeper than that, and
Mhm.
it's often linked to even your inner child. I always, for example, dream on living on an island. I totally forgot about that. I always like love tropical forest. Like there's little things I think that maybe if you are so into your work and your life and your kids, it can be hard. And I felt that. I felt that when I was in New York with the pandemic and I was just surviving. And it's why I went to Hawaii. I needed a quiet place to hear myself. So I feel it's challenging when you have a life that is very busy. And often what we feel is sadness and depression. And I think that's also a sign that your soul is like, there is more. And I felt that when I was in Geneva, and why I was depressed is my soul was like, what are you doing? I know there's more, but you're not doing it.
Mm.
So here we go. I'm not sure if I'm answering to your question directly.
I mean, I think explaining just that soul driven is kind of that connection between your heart and informing your mind a little bit of like, this is what I clearly want for myself. I think that answers part of it.
It's like linked to intuition. Your intuition
Yeah.
say also that you feel good, right? I
Hmm.
think if you are able to at least once a week, like an hour or less to really connect with your body and really listen to it because your body is giving you information on no, yes. Like the anxiety, there is nothing wrong about it. It's just information.
Yeah.
Fear is information. It can be positive, it can be negative. Like learning to listen to yourself. And it doesn't need to be every day. You have to like if you don't have the time, do it like 5 minutes on Wednesday at 12.
Hmm.
Start a little bit and then it's gonna grow. And then you're gonna need it. And then you're gonna prioritize it.
Yeah. And it might be helpful to just say like the opposite a little bit. How would someone recognize that the decisions they're making are not soul driven?
I think you know it from a level of happiness.
Mm.
Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy with your job? Are you happy about yourself? You
Hmm.
love yourself. I think joy, happiness, it's where I personally, when I decided to leave my hometown, was my promise to myself is I'm gonna just look for happiness. I know happiness is not all the time, but I'm done not doing what my soul is asking me to do. And
Yeah.
if I ever feel down or depressed, I will look into it and I will shift. And I promise myself that I will not get back to that place where I was, and always check if days are hard. Are you okay with it? Are you not okay? And I really believe also that the body also talk. I was feeling sick, had like health issue, but then I was going to the doctor and the doctor was like, "You have nothing wrong.
Mm.
Like everything is fine." And I'm like, "How come?" And I also had things that was not working out. I really felt like, like punching in the wall, right? Like I was like, "Why? Why?" I'm like, I'm trying. I'm trying to do the things that the world expect, the society expect from me, but it's not working. Why? And like I'm doing everything well. Like I'm following the rule and the expectation. And then there's like nothing is working out. And I think that's
Yeah.
also a sign.
I mean, it can be really hard to just kind of marry those in your head too of, is this just a hard day or is there something that's really going wrong here? And what you said about checking in once a week and just being like, okay, you had a shitty day, you had a shitty couple days, you had a shitty week. Is this every week? Is this happening all the time? Like, is this a bigger problem than it is now? Because to me, I wouldn't want to say if you're experiencing depression, you haven't made a soul driven decision. Like, depression can be caused by so many things. But if you're taking it big picture and just like checking to see, is this something that I could address? I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I think, of course, there is different reason people are depressed.
Yeah.
But I definitely think checking in
Hmm.
and checking with yourself is really key because you're learning about yourself, and it's never bad of knowing how you feel, how you talk to yourself, right?
Mm.
That's a big one. How people talk to you, your belief system, all those little things can help you to navigate where you're at.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned belief systems. What role does spirituality, or even not spirituality or belief systems or religion or anything like that, but even intuition, what role does that play into making those kinds of choices?
I think it depends on the day.
Fair.
Yeah. Some days feel really easier, and some days I think it's also when I invite more my mindset to, or the voice of doubts and impatience. If I had a bad night's sleep, if it's the full moon, if it's I'm definitely like connected into all those things, or if like I'm very sensitive too of my environment. I think is why I'm saying it's good to check because on yourself weekly, because things come back. And if they come back, it's a sign. And if it's new, it's again like practice a little bit and write down maybe things that come up for you. I know that some people it's hard to figuring out between intuition and other feelings. They're like, is it
Yeah.
intuition or am I impatient? Is
Mm.
it I'm bored and I need new, or is my intuition telling me I need to get out here of here? This situation is bad. Yeah, I think practicing is key with everything, and even if at the beginning it feel confusing, I really think you can start with small thing. It doesn't have to be. My intuition say I need to move to the other part of the world, and my intuition said I need to rest. My
Mhm.
intuition say I need to talk to a friend. Right? It doesn't need to be so big. It can be simple and practice that. And then afterward be like, I feel much better. That was my intuition. I listened to it and it looked, it feel right. And then you feel also empowered because you're listening to yourself and
Mhm.
you're meeting your needs.
Yeah. I know there have been times where I've ignored my intuition and it's really come back to bite me. So I definitely recommend listening to your intuition for sure. Does spirituality play into it at all? Do you recommend that your clients embrace spirituality in any way?
I do not recommend anything. I'm really adapting to the client. I have clients that are very religious and I'm not. And I'm not there to judge. It's what I like about coaching is really not about me, but I really believe in manifestation. I believe in saying out loud things. I believe that we are connected. I believe, like a Hawaiian native, I believe that there's no separation between us and nature. I believe that we are talking out to each other in a way, in an indirect way. I listened to that podcast that maybe you know, the
Oh, okay.
telepathy tape. For my pronunciation, sorry.
That's all good. I
That's
understood you
are
completely.
amazing. Oh, you need to look into it. The first season is just gonna blow your mind if you are open mind. And it talk about autist kid that are talking through their mind, and it just gives you a new dimension of the world and your little issue. You're like, what's the point? Like that's like we're amazing. So I think I push more into not something specific, but
Mhm.
more about listening to yourself. What do you need? But also, like, I had clients where they're like praying and like I'm asking some help and I'm asking for, and then I I mirror back and I'm like, all those things, like, you got people ask you to be coached by you. You have this opportunity, you have this opportunity, and you tell me nothing is coming your way. You're like, and so that's the beauty of mirroring and also believing in those things that you are asking for this. If you don't ask, then they don't come. But if you also not looking, then you're like, I don't understand. Nothing is coming. I don't understand. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, you have all this opportunity and you say no to it. So you're asking and then you say no. So yeah, I, that's, it's like I'm trying not to bring too much of my belief, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really believe in that we are connected, that
Mhm.
working together, our energy, it's so important. And yeah, ask for what you want, no matter what, no matter what you believe. But then keep your eyes open because it comes. And if you're closed mind or um, think that it will show exactly the way you want,
Mhm.
never show the way exactly you want, and you're missing opportunities.
Yeah. Maybe because that reflects a lot of the way that I view things, because I'm not religious, but I know a lot of people who are super religious in different faiths, in different communities, in different ways. And I always feel like, hey, if that works for you, that's awesome. I love that for you. Great. And so I think viewing it that way gives us an opportunity to kind of like go, it's great. That serves you. Why does it serve you? Like get a little curious about it. Why does that belief serve you? Why does that resonate with you? And then I don't know about you, but I like to take little pieces from everything and be like, that sounds good. I'll take a little bit of that.
And that's what makes community and
Hmm.
interaction beautiful, is curiosity for others, rather than judgment and saying that my way is better. Like if it worked for you, if it makes you happy, if you're finding peace through it, go for it.
Yeah. Yep. Most definitely. I know many of us feel a lot of pressure to live up to others' expectations, whether that's parents or culture or society or friends or anything like that. How do you help folks figure out which voice is theirs and which voice is related to that pressure?
Curiosity, asking questions, even I think intuition there in coaching, it's very strong. We have an intuition, especially when you work so close with people. But it's important to be curious and help them to figuring out by themselves through my question where those beliefs are coming from. Is it
Mm.
their own? Is it based on experience? Is it real? Like, and often is not. And then I'm asking often, what do you want? And often people don't really know because they have been driven by belief that are not their own, not based on reality, on facts. I also ask them, you tried? did you or like it's also close to being a detective of like trying to find who's not the murderer, but who's guilty for bringing that
Mhm.
into your client mind. And then, for example, I have a client, she's been saying a lot of, I'm not good with money. And so we're digging and we figure out that is coming from his dad who lived without a lot of money. So he had this fear and want to make sure his family was okay. But he's repeating that message about money and always being sure that everything is the bills are paid and all those things. So when we discovered that, then I asked, but what is being good with money? So it's all those, like understand what's her belief and the meaning of it. And then she gave me all those things. And then I reflect back. I'm like, you're doing that. You're saving money. You're investing money. You've been to care of a job on your own. You have kids. You have your own house. You're paying your bills. What's is showing that you're not good with it? And they're like, they don't have like, so it's how I work is digging on where it's coming from, not to change that, but to like bring up awareness to that and then understand why also they believe that
Yeah.
and what is attached to it, what's the meaning of it,
Mm.
and then be like, hey, but you're you're good with money. You are a good person or you're not a failure. You're like great. Are you accept that in others but not in yourself? Like really all those little things. And it's why coaching is so good because it's just I'm mirroring with kindness and love to just show what I see and then they tell me when I show what's come up for them. And often we don't really realize because we're so much in our head and we have so many conversation in our head. And then we have a lot of people around us that are biased. They are telling us all what they think we want to hear, or what they think it's the best situation possible. So yeah, it's how I try to do my best so that they can really see the situation from themselves and then decide what they're gonna do with it.
You know, I don't think I have ever looked at a coaching or kind of that therapy role or anything like that as being a detective, but it absolutely is. It absolutely is. I'm gonna have to take that to a couple of folks who I know who do similar work and just be like, "Do you ever feel like a detective?" Because someone brought that up, and that's a really cool concept of just like you're digging into these brains and going, "All right, what is it that's blocking you, and what is it that we can work on with you?" That's really neat. I that just putting it in that perspective tickled me a little bit. That's great. So you talked about earlier kind of the folks with a lot with kids and your life is always busy and a little bit of the challenge that is. So how do you balance being authentic and still needing to function with society's structures, paying bills, taking care of kids, following rules, all those things, and just maintaining those relationships and responsibilities? How do you balance that for someone?
Think first of all, it's for sure challenging. I tend to believe that if we want to get out of that, we have to reverse and look into what do we want, what do we need, what do we dream of, and then build up around it.
Mm,
Because at the moment, we know why we're doing those things, working, paying the bills, all those things. It makes easier to go to work. If it's to go for a trip to a place you always wanted to go, then you're like, yay, hell yeah, I'm going to work and do all these extra hours. But if you don't know why you're doing it,
mm,
it's where you get stuck. You get stuck. You're like, I'm just feeling like a robot and doing everything. I wake up in the morning for doing the same thing over and over. And it's why it's so good to take a step back, look at your situation and figure out what's your need. Do you need you're always tired and you need more rest? Then you organize around it. How can you add more rest? Or if you know that you need more money, how can you look into your budget and and really like look it closer. I had a client, we also look into that because she was in surviving mode. She had 3 jobs. She believed she needed. And then when she looked at her budget on her own, she realized, oh, but maybe I can remove this and that. And actually, I don't need so much money. I can have less for a little while. So I can quit one of my job. Like really look into the deepest, and I think it's close to the soul. Go back to the same of what do you need? What do you want for yourself? Is it uh for sure when you have kids, you want them to be safe, you want to be sure that they're gonna have a good education, they're gonna have joy and friends and all that. So how can you match all that? I think it's possible. Of course, it doesn't gonna be a big change, but I really think, again, if you cover your needs, then you can make some little change around it. And then you can, it's the beginning of starting to see your life in a different way. And even if you start small, you're gonna maybe enjoy it or be like, oh, that change is terrible, but I'm gonna try this because now I try and I see that there's potential on trying something different. Or even damn, I'm finally resting and I feel more myself. I can think, I feel better in my body. So what's next? Right?
Yeah. I know that sometimes like we started off talking about this with a huge decision, right? Of moving from one country to another and moving from one side of the country to another. But those decisions, they don't always have to be huge, right? I mean, you're talking about figuring out what your end goal is, but sometimes you can't just make that move right off for whatever reason. And I'll use myself as an example. I don't want to live in Texas anymore, but I can't move because my youngest has to be here until he's 18. So I don't have a choice. Like I can do things to get me ready for that. And I can do things to kind of set myself up for success when I am able to do that. But like, I know in my head that I can't do this until then. And so, and even beyond that, like, what if he still wants to stay here for a little while and go to school here or whatever? And so, this is fresh on my mind because we were just talking about it over the weekend. But it's one of those things that you don't have to make a decision and act on the whole decision right away, which I think is part of what you're saying is just how do you set yourself up to make that incremental progress of what small things can you do right now and still maintain your relationships and responsibilities at the same time.
So like you, what can I do meanwhile to get ready or to be more clear? So when I can do that shift, I'm clear with what I want. I know I have some information of where I can maybe go on a trip.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I can take a week and visit another state or, like all those little things that's gonna always say like bring some like put some wood in the fire of your soul so that is like you get excited, you're like that it's going in that direction even if it's not right now. But if you don't and you wait, what are you gonna do meanwhile? Also, life is short, you never know what can happen. Yeah, it's wait to be happy. Don't wait to when I what can you do that it's gonna bring some part of that
Mm-hmm.
dream in your life right now?
Yeah. And Blue Bedlam in chat is saying, oh my God, trying to move states with family complications of any kind is so hard. And my sister actually just went through this too. She has an adult child, and definitely they waited. Like they knew they wanted this very similar. They knew they wanted to get out of Texas. Who wouldn't? I mean, lots of people wouldn't, but not me. But anyway, she knew she wanted to go. Her husband was in agreement, and they definitely waited to make sure that their child was ready and adult and able to kind of like live without them and everything. Obviously not forever, but just, while they're not in the state. And they took years to just do little things. And they were like, all right, here's our next step. Here's our next step. Here's our next step. And so they really worked at it quite a long time, and it worked out great. Now they're there. They're super happy. I was talking to her earlier today, and they're planning their next project. They've always got a project. Always got a project going on. Very much like my dad. But yeah, I mean it can be super complicated and for me it's just extra complicated because there are legal things that I can't like go against. So I know for some people it's easier to make those decisions and for some people it's just really not. So on that topic, does privilege come into play in your practice? And I guess that privilege could be time, money, responsibilities, situational ability to take risks. How does privilege play into how you coach?
I think one thing that come up or what you share is that what is complicated for me is not for you. It start there. Maybe I'm better at be organized. So moving to a different country, yes, there's so many things that you have to take care of, but it's not the hardest or the most challenging. So I think we have to start by be careful that yes, it's complicated, and if you think of it of the amount of work that you need to do, especially I can imagine with kids, then you don't do anything. But also we base that judgment on it's complicated on real fact? Did you look
Mm.
online? What is gonna um take your kids to a different school? How can you move to a different state? What's the possibilities? What's the rent? All those things that give you information, then you can decide, oh, it's gonna be too complicated or it's gonna be like complicated, but actually there's even maybe company that help you to take care of that, that are doing a package or are helping you to figuring out about everything. That's of course, if you hired someone, you need money. I didn't have that. And again, I think, I don't know, like, um, if you think about the stereotype of Switzerland, you could imagine that I'm rich, but I wasn't. I took a job that I didn't like for a year and I saved money. I was like, in 1 year, I'm leaving. I'm going to say that I really love that job and I'm going to save as much as I can for 1 year. It was really hard. I almost lost
Mm.
that job because I was not into it. So, yes, it's why I'm careful about, because I don't have kids, I don't wanna be like, "It's so easy." The reality is not. Of course, it's not that easy, but I also believe that we are creating more difficulty in our head than we should because there is other people who did it. There's people like, you can maybe look into, "Oh, you did it? Can you help me? Can you tell me how you did it?" An exchange. You're like, "Oh yeah, I met that like that person helped me, or I have this company, I can give you that number." There's a lot of people who are happy to help for
Mhm.
free. They're just so excited to see you like, "Oh, you gonna do it too?" Amazing. And also that's the reason why I'm coaching women in life transition, because I'm helping them to do the same things that I did. I have one of my clients, she's gonna move from Hawaii to Spain. I have one client, she's living South Carolina and now she's in Bali looking if it will be something. And she have adult kids and the parents are making her feeling really guilty of leaving, but she's like,
Uh,
listen, my kids feel good. I want to live in a different place. So it's also having those conversation, make the research and figure out what is complicated for me, what I'm willing to say, okay, like me with the roommate, like, okay, I'm gonna do it, I guess, because I'm gonna live in New York. I'm gonna live my dream and it's worth it. So if it's why, like, starting to make the research, talk to people. Do you know anyone who left? Do you know and start if you talk with someone who's excited, they're gonna help you out. They're
yeah.
gonna be like, "Oh my god, yes, you should do it." Even just with your sister, I'm sure like even me, I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I did it twice and I might do
Mhm.
it again." I might like rather just be by the water with a good book, sure. Right? But it's also like when you're in it, then you're in it. You started, you're like, we're going. And yes, there will be like maybe a year that will be complicated and a lot of paperworks and organizing things. But again, is like, did you really want to do it? Or you really want to do it? Is it like, yeah, I want to do it? And then it's like, yeah, it's going to be complicated. Yeah, but if it, like, how much is going to cost? Then you have a number and you can be like, okay, I'm going to start to save $5. Like, I really want to make sure that people understand that. And also, that's a specific, I really believe that everybody can have what they want. Of course, I know that there's people who are in situations that are really, really hard right now.
Yeah.
Um, and I want to be mindful for them. But I think if we limit ourselves from our privilege, then we don't do anything. If we're like, oh, it's too expensive, or I'm gonna have to do this, or my kid's not gonna like it, or all those story that we are creating in our head. Again, life is short. If you feel like you want to move to a different state, you're gonna do it. You don't know exactly what when it's gonna happen. But start talk to your kid. Hey, like just seeing on your face like the joy of thinking of living in a different state, they're gonna be like, "Oh, mom, we want that for you."
Yeah.
Like communicate, talk about it. And if it's like, no, we love it so much, then you're like, okay, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit more. And
Mhm.
then you can, you know what I mean is um talk, communicate, make some research, find information, but don't base your decision only on what's happening in your head.
Right. Yeah. You brought up kind of helping women work through some past traumas or work through some changes or some limiting beliefs. Are there any common beliefs that you regularly help folks to unlearn in their journeys?
That they're not enough. That's a
Mm,
classic. Mm, and it's, I think, in all of us, right? It will be not enough in one thing and someone is not feeling enough in another thing, like maybe relationship, and someone will be work. I work a lot about fear.
mm.
Yeah, the fear is a big block. And definitely the y- people compare themselves a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a trap.
and yeah, and I see a lot of pain in it.
Yeah.
I see a lot of pain in it. They not really see who they are. They look more into the other person and what the person reflect back at them, and they think they need to. Oh, that's the classic too. Fix. They need to fix themselves. Oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, I'm that. I need to
Mm,
be fixed. I need to fix. And I get a lot of feedback from my client where they say that I give them a non-judgmental place where they see themselves of like, oh, like if you if you feel you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you feel you're not good at, like, who cares? Like, let it go of that pressure of I have to be a certain way. I need to be fixed. I'm not good enough at that. Or the other are more advanced and I'm still there. Like you're still there because maybe you need to learn something. And it's okay. Like if your rhythm, I like to go slow. Some are like, let's go fast. And then they look back and like, oh, I wish I did this or that. Whatever. If it's that your way, like I'm like self love, all that, like not feeling good enough, fear, helping to like kind of clean up what's not the need. And it's how they can like, be like, oh, that's me. I always been that. Yeah. And like, oh, I really like myself actually. If I remove all this judgment
mm.
and the inner voice that say you're not enough, oh you didn't do that, oh you forgot about this, oh you always forget, right? All this terrible self-talk.
Are there ways to help folks get past that self-talk, or is it just kind of an individual basis and what each person needs?
I think it's awareness. It start with awareness of realizing even just, oh, I'm stupid, or I'm so like, oh, I'm stupid. I've been saying that to myself out loud, like, oh, I'm stupid, I forgot this. That's things that then I realized other were doing that too. And I started to say, hey, you're not. And then be like, oh, I'm saying that to myself every day. And your brain believe it
Mhm.
because everything you're saying to yourself, your brain believe you because it's you. So if you tell to yourself, I'm stupid, I'm not enough, I'm not worth of love, I'm choosing always the bad person, I'm not good at mathematics. I think you can start with just that. Like being more present. I find mindfulness and meditation is helpful to hear your thought and how you talk to yourself and just start with that. Try to be a little bit more present so you can hear how you talk to yourself and also how you talk to others about yourself.
Mm.
I've been realizing that I was saying to people that I was not a confident person. And then I was like, but I'm doing all this thing and I moved to New York and I moved to Hawaii and I'm a confident person.
That sounds like a lot
I'm
of
maybe not
confidence.
confident. Maybe I'm not confident with talking. Yes, sometimes I hear my accent and I'm like, oh my God, or I'm saying like all the time. But then I'm like, hey, you're practicing and you got to get better.
Yep,
But still,
absolutely.
you're doing it and you're showing up, and then you bring like self love and you're like, hey, I need to give more love to myself and I have to be careful also how I talk to others
Mm.
because I reflect how I feel to others, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying, this person is like this. And I'm like, you're exactly the same.
My sister brought up, and she's brought this up before, but she's brought up a good way that she likes to do it. And she'll, if she hears herself say something like that, or she has those thoughts in her head, even if she's not saying it out loud, she'll put the voice in someone that she really despises or thinks is just an absolute crackerjack, and she'll put those words in that voice in her head and be like, okay, well, if that person said that to me, what would I tell them? Like, get fucked. So, it's like, absolutely not. If that person, that voice was the one saying this to me, I'd tell them to just leave it at the door because I'm not going to listen to what they have to say. So why would I say that to myself? So,
Yeah,
um,
that's a really good way. I call
yeah,
my inner voice, and sorry for the Karen, but I call it Karen.
yeah.
Because it's always like, "Why are you doing that? Did you do this?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna call my inner voice the Karen." And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Karen, you need to chill out.
Yeah.
I got this."
No, I like that because that's a lot of my inner voice too. I mean, half of my inner voice is just song lyrics, but the other half is like, oh, do this and do that and let me speak to your manager. Who's running this place? No one knows. It's fine. You mentioned fear as well. Is there a good way to tell the difference between fear that's protecting us and fear that's holding us back?
I think it's very similar,
Mm.
and I think it's also depend on the experience that we have. If we know I think it's again go back to being curious of why do I have this fear? Where this fear is coming from? This fear wants, right? Protecting me, doing again the same mistake. Is it this fear is mine? My beliefs? Is it someone else, like friend, a parent, or like why you want to go to a different country because then I'm not gonna see you, or um, I don't know this country and I'm scared, and then it's transferred to you. So I think starting to realize what's the end goal, what's the reason of this fear, what's the message that's this fear want to tell you? Is it just like, hey, I'm just want to make sure um you're thinking about everything, or is like freezing you and is telling you and don't move? Because we know fear, it's a good thing. Fear is analyzing the danger, right? And then we also are in an environment and in a society where fear is very present and is very used to in a way control us, right? So everything outside, we hear all the terrible things that's happening and it's already really scary. So how can you inside feel like everything is fine? The world is not going well, but I'm like fearless and I'm ready, right? So it's why I think it's so important to work on yourself and finding ways of grounding yourself so
Mm.
that when around you it's so overwhelming around all those fear, you're able to then see, is it mine? Is it someone else? Is it someone who's trying to fear make me scared of something that I'm not? Also, am I really scared about it? Like realizing sometime like actually I'm not scared about that. It's not mine. And I know I have to be careful, but I would be fine. And moving to Hawaii, for example, I I was scared. Was only fear. Unknown. I only know one person that I
Mhm.
barely know, but I really choose I'm gonna follow my fear. Why? Because I knew I will be rewarded. I will be rewarded to face my fear. And even if, let's say, it doesn't work out or I don't like it or whatever adventure, I knew that will I will learn something, I will experiment something, I will have no regret from doing it. I will be fine because no matter what, I will figuring out. No matter what, if even if I need to leave and I'm in a really terrible situation, I have I know people that love me. I can call them. I can figure it out. I also if you I we often forget what we did in the past and all the things that we achieved um, from having a kid. It's still alive. Going to a school, having a job, paying your bills on time, go on an adventure. And then like, oh, I did all those things. So why am I so scared
Mhm.
that I'm not able to do it? And I think I will fail. And then, like, hey, like you're doing some amazing things. You did so many look at you. Look at your experience in the past. And even if you failed, you're here. You got out. So you know how to figure out and trust that. And you will know. And of course, we all want like a life where there's no crazy surprise, but that's I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
Everyone, no matter their privilege or have a lot of money, everybody face big challenge.
Yeah. The idea of just like look back at what you've been through and what you've done before. I've definitely looked back and been like, no, you've survived so much in your life. You got this. It's okay. But that doesn't stop me from having those little doubts sometimes. And you just kind of have to, or at least I wind up trying to argue with myself, which is that little Karen voice again inside, and going like, "No, sit down. You're fine. This is okay. You're going to make it through this too." And you just kind of do it. You just kind of do it. And then you look back on it later and you're like, "Wow, I rocked that. That was great."
And even if I totally get it because I felt that way so many times of like I don't I don't want to go through it. I've been in the past. I know how it's gonna be hard. Why I will wanted to do it again. And why wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Get stronger. Again, look at what you need. Maybe there is some needs that are not met. Just look at that. Focus on that. It's not always you have to push. It's not always about hustle. It's not always have to like go, 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 go. It can also be about I'm exhausted. And then be like, okay, that's a priority. You need to get stronger so you can think well, because if you don't sleep well, then you cannot think well and everything feel big when if you rested, you're like, I can do it. Right? I'm sure you recognize that in
Oh
yourself too.
yeah.
There is days you're like, oh my God. And then the day after, like, yeah, sure.
Yes, most definitely. I wish my kids would understand that too. I think sometimes they're like, "No, especially if they get home from it like a really hard day at school or something, and they're just going, "No, this is impossible." And then the next day they're facing something similar and they're like, "Oh, I couldn't do it yesterday. I can't do it today." And I wish I could just like hammer into their little brains that no, this is a different day. It's a different day. You've had a different experience. It's time to forget that you couldn't do whatever it was yesterday. For my 11-year-old, it's always like, no, I don't have the energy to go to jujitsu today. And then the next day, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to want to go today. And I'm like, don't think about yesterday. What, how was today and everything. So, but yeah, it makes a big difference of how rested are you? How much energy do you have? Massive difference.
Well, like, who's around you? Do you have
Yeah.
positive people? Do you have people that love you and talk to you with care and not like horrible things of
Mhm.
their own things that they need to take care of? It's why it's so important to be surrounded with people that really care about us and with us, not like in a toxic way. I think that it's also very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are coming up on the last couple of questions. So, folks who are here in the chat with us, if you have anything you want to make sure that we ask today while we are here with Nina live, make sure that you pop it in there. And Nina, what is your favorite life hack?
The first thing, and it's great because it's continuing and on what we were talking about is nap. I
Mm.
love nap, and I'm half Italian, so maybe it's like a part. And Switzerland is very into. They have a lot of boundary between work and free time. That was a very challenged thing to like moving to the US where there's no
Hmm.
boundary and you can be available all the time and work all the time. And like, why you want to stop? It's just work, work, work. Whereas Italy, I grew up with my grandparents that, or even my parents take a nap every day. Maybe for some people it will be a hack. For me, it makes such a big difference in my day. I really find joy in when I'm able to put a nap in because I see the difference in how I feel. Yeah, if I sometimes I say to my husband, I'm like, today my goal is to have a nap. I kind of feel if I tell him, then I have to do it, and I have like it's a thing that I have to promise myself that I have to do a nap, take a nap, and he's like, okay. I don't understand what she's telling me. Like, yeah, but if I tell you, then I feel like
Hmm.
then I need to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Get a little
You're
bit
my
of
accountability.
accountability. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, and not only that, but for me, I've told like I'll even tell my 11-year-old I've got to order milk. And he's like, I'm not going to remember that in 2 seconds. I don't know why you're telling me. But it's just the fact that I've spoken it aloud to another person, it helps me remember. Because even if then later I'm like, oh man, what was I trying to remember? I can go back to that moment in my brain and be like, oh, I told him, I spoke those words. I said I need to order milk, and so then I can just add it to the list and everything. But yeah, I think speaking it out loud is a huge help sometimes. And also naps are great, and I wish that I had more time for naps in my day. That would be fantastic.
Your cat will enjoy be like, "Hey, we can hang out together and have a nap
Mhm.
together."
Yes, boy, he would really love some extra naps. He napped for a lot of the day today. Coyote says nap equals peace of mind for me. Yes, for sure. Yeah. Even just a short nap. Although it's hard for me to nap a short amount of time. I like very long naps, which is maybe why I don't get to take very many.
Yeah, like 2 hours now. I don't know
Yes.
how, but my body wake up 2 hours later, and I know that some people hate it because they feel it definitely when I wake up, I don't know where I am and
A little
which day it is,
disoriented.
but
Hmm.
I know that it will take a minute to feel back, but the feeling of having like that it happened and that I I recharge myself. And there is also like I'm not sleeping the same way when I have a nap.
Hmm.
I don't know why. Is it because at night you know that the day after you have to wake up? Where I really when I have a nap like that, I just let myself go and I have nothing to do after. I know that is well known that 15, 20 minutes nap is amazing. I did that sometimes when I didn't have time to do those but
Hmm.
it's not the same.
It's not the same. I definitely had some time where, like, I would be so exhausted at work when I was pregnant with my youngest. I would go out to the parking garage. And this was when I worked in an office, but I would go out to the parking garage and be like, okay, I've only got 20 minutes until my next meeting, but I need a nap. And it was enough to get me through the day, but it was not enough to make me feel better. Getting woken up during a deep sleep is so over. Yes. Yeah, that's a bummer. That is a bummer. I hate when I wake up like 2 minutes before my alarm, though. That bums me out. Well, it is time for our magic moment. So if you could wave a magic wand and eliminate one common opinion or misconception or theory surrounding mental illness, disabilities, or talking about mental health, what would it be?
You I think we all need to mental health. We need help. I wish the conversation I'm happy that we're talking more and more about it, but I wish that boundary and those stereotypes around it
Mm,
disappear. Not hearing people say, "What's your problem? Are you sick?" You're Because then it's like if you have a mental illness, you feel so different. And
mhm,
I see that with people struggling with ADHD, ADD, all those labels are really hurting people. I see that they're trying their best to show up with all those challenge and again compare themselves. Whereas I don't I don't deal with ADHD, but I have struggled too. And maybe it's not as challenging, but still, it's so good to like take care of your soul, take care of your head, figuring out what's your blockage, your trauma, or helping someone else. Yeah, I those stereotypes are so bad and so hurtful of like, oh, I'm good and you're sick. Um, you know what I mean? It's kindness and mental health is and I know that also physical health is not very prioritized, and we're talking about resting. And yeah, I there was more kindness on seeing people for who they are and not
mhm,
their label, not their illness, and not their challenge. Because the reality, we all have different challenge, even if it's not mental, it might be physical, it might be the relationship we choose. We always get in the same relationship that are really terrible. Like just seeing as human being and yeah, I'm taking care of myself and mental health is for everyone and there's no it's not isn't bad. It's actually really good.
mhm.
And if some people need more care, yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Use what you need.
Yeah,
Well,
without judgment.
yep. Well, I'm going to post your socials one more time so that folks who would like to find you can go find you. And y'all know that I always say that engagement is king for all of these platforms. So if you go find her on LinkedIn or Substack, make sure you're engaging with a couple of posts. Leave a like, leave a comment. That's what really makes a difference. And Nina, I'll just turn it over to you while I'm posting these and let you have the floor. Anything we didn't get to talk about or anything you want to throw out there, feel free to talk about it.
What can I add after all that? I think I will echo again on life is short and really look into your belief system and what you think what you can or cannot do. I've been stuck for years in that circle and I was really, really unhappy. Sometimes I wish I left when I was younger so I could have more energy, especially in New York. So yeah, I think I hear a lot about these days about people before they die, what they say, and that they always regret what they didn't do than what
Mm,
they did. And I think that's so important. And we don't know what's tomorrow will be. And if your soul is like excited and like, whoa, like that will be so amazing to do. Start with a little thing. Start by making a research, starting by reading a book about it. Start to talk to a friend about it. Yes, talk out loud about it. So then also your brain is like, hey, okay, like something going on. This person is going in a new direction. And then, like we said, like I need to go to take a nap today, or I need to buy milk today, you find an accountability partner and say out loud, I want to move out of that state. I want to live in a place that feel more safe. I want to feel in a place where I feel myself, or I'm next to the water, or, like all these little things are valuable. And if your friend is like, what? Or who cares? You like it, go for it.
Yeah, that's great. Tib would like to know, what is your favorite type of pillow? My favorite type of pillow lately has been, there's this kind of foam pillow with like a dip in it, and then it goes up. And I like that one because it feels like it gets my neck, and I wake up with a sore neck less than I do otherwise. That's an interesting question, Tib. And I guess I hadn't thought about whether or not I have a favorite type of pillow until that moment, but that is the pillow. I have lots of pillows on my bed. That is the pillow that I almost always sleep on, though, is that one.
Yeah, pillow are really important. It can really mess up your sleep, and if you don't have the good one. And I feel like through like getting older, I don't like the same pillow I cannot sleep with the same one. Or if you go to an Airbnb or a hotel and the pillow are
Mm-hmm.
a certain way, you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a really hard night.
Yes. Yeah, you can go on to like now a lot of the hotel reservations. They'll say, "Do you want a foam pillow or a feather pillow?" And it's like you gotta click the right buttons for whatever it is you want. Well, Nina, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really appreciate your time and energy tonight, and I know that it's afternoon for you. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Chat, I will be right back. I'm going to disconnect with Nina, and we will be back in just a minute. So again, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. That was Nina Bevar and I talking about personal growth and making decisions from your soul instead of your head. I really appreciated the honesty about the hard parts and the privilege involved in making big life changes. A couple of things from that conversation are still sitting with me. First, the idea of your inner voice having a name. Nina calls hers Karen. My sister puts her negative self-talk in the voice of someone she despises. However you do it, there's something powerful about recognizing that critical voice as separate from who you are. That voice that says you're stupid or not good enough or always screwing up, that's not you. It's noise you've been listening to for so long you forgot it wasn't truth. The other thing that hit me was Nina talking about how we create more difficulty in our heads than actually exists. We assume things are impossible without doing the research or asking someone who's done it. We tell ourselves stories about why we can't instead of finding out what it would actually take. I'm guilty of this all the time. I'll spend weeks worrying about something that turns out to take one phone call and 20 minutes to solve. And checking in with yourself once a week is something so simple, but most of us aren't doing it. We're just powering through, handling everything that gets thrown at us, never stopping to ask ourselves if we're actually okay. Then we wonder why we feel depleted and lost and disconnected from ourselves. You can't hear your soul if you never get quiet enough to listen. Here's what I want you to take from this episode. You don't have to move to another country or make some massive life change tomorrow, but you do need to start paying attention to what your soul is asking for. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's a different job. Maybe it's ending a relationship that's been draining you for years. Maybe it's finally pursuing that thing you've been putting off because you're scared or think you're too old or whatever story you've been telling yourself. Start small with one conversation, 1 hour of research. Tell one person out loud what you're thinking about. We've actually got a great Discord community if you want to find an accountability buddy there. Put some wood on that fire so it doesn't go out completely while you're waiting for the perfect time that's never going to get here. And remember what Nina said about regret. People don't regret the things they did. They regret what they didn't do. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to rate and review or leave a comment on the show wherever you're listening. It actually makes a huge difference in helping other people finding us. Sharing this episode with someone who needs to hear it, screenshotting it and posting it to your story, that engagement is really what keeps independent podcasts like this going. You can find Nina on LinkedIn and Substack. I've got those links in the show notes along with her website. If you're feeling stuck or trying to navigate a big life transition, she's really worth checking out. And if you have questions or topics you want me to cover on future episodes, send them my way. You can find me on all the socials as MommaFoxFire, or leave a comment wherever you're listening to this. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for doing the work of showing up for yourself, even when it's hard. Thanks for being a part of this community where we talk about the real stuff without pretending everything is fine all the time. Because even tacos fall apart sometimes, and that doesn't mean they're not still delicious and exactly what you needed. The same goes for you. I will catch you next time on Even Tacos Fall Apart. Take care.